Welcome back to Thoughts from a Bookworm. I'm Abigail Grace. I will apologize really quickly for my voice. I have been battling a sore throat for the past few days, but I did not want to get messed up on my filming schedule, so we're just going to deal with it. Today we're going to be talking about instant karma, and I know I have mentioned this before on this channel. Up until very recently, the contemporary genre was not my preferred genre. This, I feel like, is too far away. It has never been like my favorite genre, but I have always enjoyed it. There's just been something very it's just kind of one of those genres where I feel very just like, I don't really have to pay super close attention to it because it's usually just more of like a surface level story. There's not usually a whole lot of depth to contemporary novels. Not that that's a slam in any way, but recently I've just been really kind of liking contemporary novels. I'm a huge fan of the Lunar Chronicles, and when Marissa Meyer announced that she was kind of like going to branch off because she's done a couple other fairy tale retelling. She did like a superhero series, which I started and never got into, so I didn't honestly even finish Renegades, or is that what it's called? Renegades trilogy? I think that's what it's called. I honestly don't know, but when she announced that she was going to try and break away from that and try a contemporary novel, I was very curious. My brother and my dad are huge Beatles fans, so I grew up very familiar with like certain phrases and songs and stuff like that. I was never like a fan of the Beatles. I don't not like them. I just don't like go out of my way to listen to them. But there were even some things that I picked up throughout the book that were clear Beatles references. I had my book sitting on the table one time and my dad was like, "Oh my gosh, Instant Karma, that's a Beatles song." So it was, and I told him, "Oh yeah, well the author is very into the Beatles. It's a very Beatles themed book." So that made it really fun. I very much enjoyed this book. I was not honestly super hopeful that I would, but I actually really enjoyed it. I thought that Prudence was hilarious. This is going to sound kind of stupid, but there were a couple instances throughout the book that were like, could have been avoided if the characters had had better communication. But I honestly kind of like the miscommunication. I don't know if I can call it a trope, but just I like the miscommunication element in books. I feel like it's very realistic. Not very many people are, star communicators, so I feel like it's very realistic, and it kind of just adds some very natural tension to things. I loved Quinn and Prudence's dynamic throughout the whole thing. I like how it kind of sets it up because it's from Prudence's POV, so we're kind of already prejudiced, if that's the right word, against Quinn from the start, and then as we kind of get to meet him through Prudence's eyes, there's just kind of this like, wait, is he actually this lazy bum? Is he actually this, careless troublemaker that Prudence makes him out to be? And it comes out that he's not. He's very into the whole rescuing animals things. So I thought that their dynamic was very sweet. I don't know if it would technically be an enemies to lovers thing. That seems very dramatic for a contemporary novel, but they definitely didn't get along, and they ended up getting along. I really liked how Prudence's karma powers were just kind of appeared. Like it wasn't anything super, oh, there's this, like fantasy novels, there's a reason for everything. I liked how in this contemporary novel, it was kind of like Freaky Friday, where like we don't know why they switched. I mean, like the Asian lady, put a spell on them or whatever, but there was no underlying, oh, there's this secret government thing or the secret power thing. It was just like, oh, she hits her head and she has these instant karma powers, which I totally relate to because there have been so many times, not so many, but there have been a handful of times throughout my life where it's like, somebody will do something or say something, or I'll be driving and somebody will cut me off and I'll be like, man, I wish that I could just like plant a nail in the street right where you cut me off in front of so that like your tire blows out, which is totally not a good attitude to have. But that whole side of Prudence and her, cosmic karma powers was really cool. I personally know that there is no such thing as karma, but for the sake of the story, it was very fun. It was very entertaining. I got nervous at one point because there came up this like animal rights activist. She wasn't like a main character, but she was in it, and I was kind of afraid that it was gonna like that at the end of the book that like Prudence and Quinn were both gonna become vegans and we're gonna recognize the horrors of eating animals and this and that. And again, I disagree with that. If you're vegan or vegetarian or whatever, that is completely your choice. I don't think there's anything wrong with eating animals or eating animal products. I think we can be humane about, how we kill our animals and kind and how we, cow farms and stuff like that. But I don't think there's anything wrong with eating animals. And I like that the author didn't go the route of, oh, if you eat animals, you're a villain. I like that she didn't go that route. She kind of left it open-ended, which I was fine with. But I just liked the pacing of it throughout. I loved when Prudence and Quinn were stuck in the animal shelter when it was storming and they were stuck there overnight. They kissed. They kind of like non-verbally like established that okay, they're both interested in each other, and then the very next day everything goes down. Prudence is accused of cheating. I liked that whole, which I think was a miscommunication situation. It was just one of those things where it could have been cleared up so quickly if characters had just talked to each other more, but I liked that they didn't because it built a very natural tension to it. I did think it was funny though that once Prudence like left the animal shelter, she was like stalking their Facebook page. Like she kept referencing their Facebook page, and I just kind of like chuckled because it was like nobody in our generation like uses Facebook anymore. So it kind of, when I read that, I was like, okay, Miss Girl just outed herself. I don't know. It just made me laugh that Prudence was on Facebook. I don't know why that made me laugh. It just did. But overall, it was a very fun book. I know there is a sequel coming out with a little luck, which is focused on Prudence's brother Jude. I honestly haven't read it, and I don't really have like an overwhelming desire to read it. I might, because I kind of felt that same way with Instant Karma, and I'm pretty sure that I got Instant Karma because it came, I don't know if it came free with some other order of books or if it was like super discounted with another order, but I honestly don't remember how I ended up getting that book, but I got it and I liked it and I really did enjoy it, so I would definitely consider reading with a little luck. But yeah, it was just a very fun, light read, and I really enjoyed it, and I almost wish that we would have gotten a sequel to Prudence and Quinn, not necessarily her brother, but that's fine. It's contemporary, and I feel like contemporary novels can kind of get away with things that other novels can't just because of the nature of the genre, but it was a very fun book. I have read it, I think, a second, possibly even a third time since the first time I read it, so it is just a very fun book. But that is honestly all I have to say about it. It was very fun. So this was a very short episode. I'm making up for my last 2 weeks where I had like half-hour long episodes. So if you made it to the end, thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe so you never miss an episode.